Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into what can only be described as a political earthquake in South Australia, where one nation just pulled off an election result that is pretty much everyone using the word unprecedented.
Let's kick things off with a quote that really puts this all into perspective. See, in South Australian politics, it's a huge deal for a minor party to win even one seat in the state's lower house. It's just historic. But One Nation didn't just win one.
4. That's the number at the very heart of this story. 4 potential lower house seats for One Nation. And believe me, a result like that has sent some serious shockwaves through the state's entire political scene.
So how exactly did One Nation manage to cause such a massive disruption? Let's break down the actual election outcomes.
Okay, so what they've done is secure a major foothold in Parliament. We're talking 3 members in the upper house, and get this, they're on long 8-year terms. On top of that, it's looking like 4 seats in the lower house for the next 4 years. Their state leader is saying this gives them a brand new, powerful platform to, quote, hold the government to account.
All right, so they've got the seats. What's the first move? Well, it's a big one. They're making a bold play for even more power, and it's a direct challenge to the political establishment.
And this is where it gets really interesting. The Liberal Party might also end up with just 4 seats. So One Nation is basically asking, okay, who gets to be the official opposition now? Is it the party that's always done it? Or is it the one that just got more votes across the state?
So here's their whole argument in a nutshell. If it's a 4-4 tie, One Nation is saying, hey, that job should be ours. And their reasoning? Simple. They got a higher statewide vote. They're arguing that gives them a stronger democratic mandate to do the job.
And they're not just saying it, they've got the numbers to back it up. They're pointing to a 24.5% vote in the upper house and a solid 22% right across the state. For them, that's proof positive they should be the main ones keeping the government in check.
Now, you might be thinking, it's just a title, right? Well, not really. This is a huge deal because being the official opposition unlocks additional resources. We're talking more funding, more staff, basically all the tools you need to be a much more effective and powerful voice in politics.
Okay, so let's say they get all this new influence. What are they actually going to do with it? Let's open up their policy playbook and take a look.
All right, they've laid out some really clear and you could say controversial priorities. Their main goal is to get rid of what they call the ideological agenda. That means abolishing the state's Aboriginal voice to Parliament. It means abandoning net-zero energy targets, and it means cutting government spending to free up money for frontline services and, of course, to help with the cost of living.
And on that energy point, it's really interesting how they frame it. They're not just saying net zero is bad. They're saying let's abandon it immediately and go back to reliable, affordable electricity. They're positioning it as a direct fix for your power bills. Then there's healthcare. They're going right after the state's ambulance ramping crisis. You know, that awful situation where ambos are stuck outside hospitals for hours, unable to get their patients inside. They say they've got a common-sense, 2-part solution that they developed just by talking to the paramedics on the front line.
But, with this kind of meteoric rise, there's always a catch. And for One Nation, it's a question that has followed them around for years. Can they hold it all together?
You see, the party has a bit of a history of its elected members jumping ship. So the big question on everyone's mind is, will this new group of parliamentarians actually stick together for the whole term? So what does their leader have to say about that? Well, his answer is all about unity. He says that even though they all come from different walks of life, they're all united by one single pressing thing. They want to put South Australians first. He thinks that shared mission is what's going to be the glue that holds them all together.
And then he takes it a step further. He basically paints One Nation as the only stable option. He claims labor is just focused on the union movement, and the Liberal Party, well, he says they're too busy being at war with themselves to get anything done.
So where does this all lead? Let's pull back and look at the long game here. Because it's pretty clear this election result isn't the finish line for them, it's just the starting gun.
Their state leader puts it out there plain and simple. The goal isn't just to be a good opposition. The goal is to, quote, become a government ultimately.
So how do they plan to do that? By going after seats across the board. They're not just targeting the Liberals. They're going after traditional labor strongholds in the outer suburbs, trying to break up what they call the state's Uni-Party politics. And that's what this all boils down to. What's happening in South Australia raises this massive question for Australian politics as a whole.
Can a so-called minor party actually break the mold and reshape a two-party system that's been in place for decades? Honestly, it's like a live experiment, and we're all just waiting to see what happens next.